What's up, people? Sorry I'm doing this video so late in the night, but I just couldn't get to it yesterday, and I'm just was busy all day today, so I decided I'm gonna do it now. But today I am gonna review Mr. Nice Guy. This is actually a fresh watch for me because I had never seen this movie. I don't think I even heard of it, but it's another Jackie Chan film. It's been a bit since I've done a Jackie Chan film. So I decided to do that, and then I'll do the Texas video maybe next week. I think so. My plan is this week. Tomorrow, Bill and Ted Face the Music. So the last of the Bill and Ted movies, and then I'll figure out what Keanu movie I'll do next week. And then Evil Dead 2, which I cannot wait to do on Thursday because I love Evil Dead 2. Even though it's been a little bit, is my favorite of the trilogy. I think it has that tone of the first one, but it's still like it introduces the Ash we all know. So I'll talk about that more on Thursday. And then Friday, I will be reviewing The Goonies. So that's the plan so far this week. And then maybe probably like Saturday or Sunday I'll review I'll either do the Texas Chainsaw rant or I'll do the Generation Hope video. But today, I did a first watch of not today, but I reviewed on I think it was yesterday, or I guess technically 2 days ago because it's like midnight right now. But I watched Mr. Nice Guy, which is a Jackie Chan film that came out in 1997. I think it's made by the same studio that did a lot of the police story films and stuff. This was about a year before, obviously he became big in the West with Rush Hour. So I just picked it out because I just was looking at his discography like, yeah, what Jackie Chan film will I do? I think next week I will do Around the World in 80 Days. I watched that one once and I remember really liking it, so I'll do that one next week. But this one the premise is a guy named Jackie who he's a chef gets unfortunately involved in a situation where a journalist named Diana, sees Italian mobster Giancarlo, I think is the villain's name, get in a botched deal with a rival gang, and basically she's a witness, so she has to be eliminated. He ends up protecting her, but then they have to stop to get this tape. So that's pretty much the whole premise of the movie. So I just watched it, and I like the Jackie Chan parts. Pretty much every scene he's in, I think he's good. Because this was the start of Jackie Chan becoming a big name. This movie isn't in subtitles besides like one character, his girlfriend, who's like, because most of the movie is set in Australia. My main issue with the movie, I think it started off really good. It was fun, and you had a set bad guy because the movie actually opens up with him killing a person, Giancarlo. But then he kind of just disappears, and it becomes about the rival gang because they learn about the tape. So they basically kidnap like his girlfriend, and it becomes about he has to try to get his girlfriend back. It loses itself because I actually really liked it in the beginning, and then just once the focus went away from that guy, it just kind of went all over the place. But the Jackie Chan scenes are fun. Some of the side characters are okay. It's not the worst thing in the world. And it is just because the last few years of shit I've been getting, I just kind of compare it to that. I just think of like the Jackie Chan movies I've reviewed this last few months, even though there's been a bits of breaks, I would probably say this is the worst one, to be honest. It starts off really good and then it just dips. But I'll talk about that more when I get into the review. But it's not the worst thing in the world. I 6 out of 10. That's kind of where I'm sitting at right now. But besides that, we'll kind of kick off the review now. Like I mentioned, tomorrow I'll review Bill and Ted Face the Music, which I cannot wait to do. It's a solid movie. It's one of the examples of how to bring it back. It's not the most amazing movie. It's not my favorite Bill and Ted movie. I still think the first two are in a class of their own. But this one's fun. So, but other than that, I'm going to cheers and kick off this review. So the movie opens up with Giancarlo at his I'm assuming it's his house, but it's like his base of operations. Finds out someone who works with him is like a mole because he has it's like this chick has her killed by dumping her in like in this pit, and she gets like I'll admit this kill scene was actually pretty gnarly. He dumps her in like this in this hole, and he dumps like a dump truck on her. Basically, you know, she drowns in dirt. And then he arranges a deal because it turns out his rival gang, the Demons, which basically are your basic street punks. That's my I'll get to a little bit of my issue with them. If they were just like a side gang, it would not bother me. Because the movie sets it up like Giancarlo and his gang are the main guys. Even like for like the first 30 minutes to 30, 40 minutes, they were the bad guys. But then just randomly, it just this weird like shift to where now the demons, which I'll get to more later. But it's just so because the demons have his drugs. I'm assuming that's what it is. They try to make a deal. Giancarlo offers, I think it was $5,000. Yeah, it was $5,000. But the demon leader, I don't remember his name, so I'm just gonna call him Demon Leader, refuses that. So it becomes a gunfight. Goes to shit. But Giancarlo ends up spotting Diana, who's a news journalist, and her cameraman. Then we get like basically a giant chase scene while Jackie. So in a way, you could almost tie this film to it's a loose, in a way, a loose Police Story movie, because Police Story, if you in like the West, his name is Jackie, so it's not personally the same. And it is in Australia in the second one, or in the last Police Story 4, which this would have been. But yeah, so he spots her, but after a set, Jackie notices, like, cause he just sees a girl getting like accosted, so he beats him up. Like the Jackie spots are fun. It's always fun to see him do his stunts and all that shit. It's just, so I'll just keep going. But yeah, he does this pretty much his stunts, beats up the guys, and then we get like basically a chase scene for a good almost 15 minutes, which is fine. You know, he helps her. He gets in a car, he manages to escape, but she has a video which has the murder, or like the deal. But she ends up leaving it with Jackie, who Jackie drops her off, then goes home, and then like, you know, hangs out with his family. One of the children who's like at Jackie's house ends up watching the video because he thinks it's like a movie. And while Jackie's at home, she realizes the tape she has is one of Jackie's cooking episodes. And then it turns out her cameraman was they don't show this, but her cameraman was actually captured by Giancarlo's gang. They burst in her house. They realize it's the wrong tape because, you know, they force him to give them the address. Then they go to they try to take her to but then she causes a distraction, ends up running away. So the mob thinks, okay, Jackie has a tape, so they go because Jackie's doing a set at the mall, and the demons want revenge because their leader, during the scuffle, I didn't mention this, but yeah, during the scuffle, gets killed. So they go to the mall. Jackie's filming one of his episodes. And, like, yeah, the side characters are kind of there. Like, one of the side characters is this black girl. Like, that's, like, one of his friends. And then another side character's, like, this, I think he's a cop who's, like, investigating, like, Giancarlo. And while Jackie's cooking, doing one of his sets, the mob show up. Jackie, we get a fun Jackie Chan scene, where he's running away, fighting, beating up those guys. But then the demons realize that the Giancarlo's mob is after something. And she goes into Jackie's house, Diana, and a lot of the side, like I mentioned, the side characters are okay for this type of movie. It's made in Hong Kong. I kind of give a little, especially at this time, like foreign films aren't like now, where they're like at times even better than like what we got here in America. But this was at that time where foreign films, especially like films in Hong Kong, were kind of cheap, but it still was fine. So like I don't expect characters to be as great, So she sneaks into Jackie's house while Jackie's friend thinks she's a thief, attacks her. Oh, at this point, Jackie's girlfriend arrives. She's from mainland China. And I'll admit, like, the fun sequence, because there was, like, a chase where the bad guys are chasing her and him on, like, a horse wagon, which is kind of fun. It was a fun little sequence. They arrive back, but then the demons show up, and then they end up hiding at the girl's, at Jackie's apartment, which is the black girl. And while there, the demons show up and they kidnap Jackie's girlfriend because they want the video. Basically, they want to trade the video for the girl. Here's the problem: this is where the movie takes a dip for me. It loses focus because the movie opens, like, the way it opens up, it sets up Giancarlo as the bad guy. I don't give a fuck about these street punks. That's what the demons to me are. Any other movie, they would just be some street punks that would get their ass whooped and they're done. It just didn't work for me. Trying to make him the bad guy in this, it just didn't work for me. So at this point, I just did not care. So they take his girlfriend. So the next night, Jackie, while working with the police, I think it's the police. They could be FBI. I think it is police, actually. And they arrange this thing, but there's a girl who works with the demons, she's like the girlfriend of the main leader. She realizes that the people following Jackie are cops. They all run, and then basically Jackie chases them. Like, at this point, I just lost interest. It loses the focus of itself. I don't mind the girlfriend getting kidnapped, especially in movies like this. Was just at that time, the easiest story is girlfriend, daughter, son, like any kind of loved one gets kidnapped. I expect that in these type of movies. But it's just, Giancarlo should have been the bad guy. I just don't get why are we trying to make the demons these big bad guys? They're just a bunch of street punks to me. It would have been fine if they were a side character, but Giancarlo kind of disappears in his mob for like a good almost 30 minutes. 40 minutes. They just kind of disappear from the fucking movie. Until the final act. It just doesn't make sense. And that's why, like, even for like a Hong Kong movie, just fundamentally, that's just not good, right? I love Jackie, but he's like the only thing that carries this movie. Probably will never watch this one again. I was hoping this was going to be like First Strike, because a lot of the Jackie movies I reviewed, I've been kind of soft on, because most of the time, especially his older stuff, you're just watching for cool kung fu action. So the story, I'm not like expecting the story to be amazing, but my God, it's hard to not notice. It just loses focus. So Jackie decides he's going to go get his girlfriend on his own. So the next day, he follows them because there's a scene where he beats up the leader. He finally catches up to the leader, but he tells them that that they're at a construction site. So Jackie goes to the construction site, but while there, Giancarlo and his men show up, pretty much kill all of the demons, and take Jackie's girlfriend. Why couldn't this happen like an hour ago? It should have been Giancarlo and his men who showed up at it. So I was like, I could easily tweet this. This is like even like for a foreign film, man. There's just storytelling like this. Like all they had to do was just. It should have been Giancarlo and his men who showed up and took his girlfriend. That's all they had to do. The demons were. I just didn't care. Not a bad movie. Like, the fun. That's why I gave it a 6 because Jackie Chan's parts are fun. And like I said, I grade these kind of movies differently compared to like Jackie Chan movies, especially like his older stuff. I'm not expecting to be amazing, so that's why I'm not like going too hard at it. So Giancarlo and his men take up. So Jackie fights some of his men, fights some of Giancarlo's men, but gets captured, and then they pretty much take him back to the same spot where he killed that girl earlier, but he manages to escape and gets into he ends up getting so I'm just kind of jumping ahead to the final fight where he gets into like this the same construction truck that was from earlier, that dump truck that dumped like dirt. Jackie ends up destroying Giancarlo's house and all that. So the cops show up. They, arrest all the bad guys. So, this film isn't horrible. It's fine. It's just that it just drops for me a bit because it's like, it just kind of loses focus. But at the same time, I'm not expecting these movies to be amazing. Because the fun, when we get to Jackie Chan doing stuff, I'm fine. So even if the writing is, like, the reason I grade these movies it's the same thing with, like, Friday the 13th. I grade those movies kind of differently compared to, like, not even Oscar shit, just, like, super quality. Because even, like, early Jackie Chan stuff, a lot of those movies were just made just so Jackie Chan could do his stunts. So, this movie's fine. I probably won't watch it again, but it's a fine. It's passable. Like, that's why I gave it a 6. It's not the worst thing in the world. The side characters are whatever. The villain I think he could have been good, but then it just loses focus. But besides all that, it's not the worst thing in the world. It's probably the worst Jackie Chan movie in this list, like I mentioned earlier, but it's still not the worst thing in the world. So I would maybe recommend it if you can get past, like, the story, you'll probably have fun with, like, some of the Jackie Chan stunts. Like, there's this part where he's, like, hiding from a bad guy, and he's, like, holding himself and the girl, Diana. It's, like, the strength, like, it just, stuff like that. Like, that's why a lot of these Jackie Chan reviews, I always bring up his stunts, just because it's, like, it's crazy. But, yeah, I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world, like I mentioned, but I would maybe recommend it if you just want to watch if you like Jackie Chan's early stuff, or you just want to be a completionist, I would maybe recommend it. But yeah, so tomorrow, like I mentioned, I will be reviewing Bill and Ted Face the Music. I'll try to do that one during the day, so I can just, so I'll try to get that one out, maybe like right after I watch it, so. But other than that, I'm going to cheers to this movie. I think I gave it a 6, so I'm going to stick with that. But other than that, I'm going to cheers and then peace out. Yes, okay, got it. But as usual, fuck Warner Brothers, fuck Disney, fuck LeBron, fuck Seth Rogen, fuck Joy Reid, fuck Kevin Smith, fuck the Biden administration. I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. Peace.